Hey, fellow leaders. Welcome to today's Military Writing Smarter in 6 segment, Passive Voice and How to Turn It Off. Coming at you from the Military Writing Command Center. If there's one thing that all military leaders have heard before, it's that we're supposed to avoid, at all costs, using the passive voice. But what if you don't know exactly what that means or how to avoid it? If it's so essential to keep it out of our writing, we had better know exactly what constitutes passive voice and active voice and be able to choose the correct one. I'm about to show you how, so let's dig in. I've dug through the regs and the handouts that you'll get at MLC or ILE and all of the grammar and style guides, including APA 7th edition, so you don't have to search through those yourself. Here's what you need to know. The writing term voice refers to the relationship between the subject and the verb in a sentence. Each sentence has a voice that is either active or passive. AR 25-50 says, the standard English sentence order, subject, verb, object, works best. It speeds communication and helps the reader understand the main point. How so? Well, traditional standard English sentences are formed like this. Our first sergeant expects us to counsel all soldiers regularly. Or, the battalion commander will lead the promotion ceremony. Or, she proposed changes to the MLC curriculum. In each of these sentences, we have a verb or verb phrase that involves an action. Expects, will lead, proposed. We can only truly identify the subject of our sentence after we have located the verb, because we need to then ask ourselves, who is doing the verb? Who expects us to counsel all soldiers regularly? Our first sergeant. Who will lead the promotion ceremony? The battalion commander. Who proposed changes to the MLC curriculum? She did. All three of these sentences follow the standard English sentence order, subject, verb, object. The subject is listed early on in our sentence, before the verb phrase, and is the individual or thing that takes action in our sentence. The relationship between these subjects and their verbs is active, so we consider these sentences to be written in active voice. Are you with me so far? Let's look at some super short sentences for some additional examples. I want you to identify the verb or verb phrase, the subject, and the object in each of these sentences. Who completed? She did. Who is withholding? I am. Who configured? He did. All of the sentences that we've considered so far have used active voice. We know who the doer is. It's very obvious, because these sentences follow the subject, verb, object sequence that AR 25-50 wants us to use. It's the quickest and easiest way for English-speaking brains to process information. But what would these look like if we switch these into the dreaded passive voice? The object of the sentence would be moved to the very beginning, and the true subject would come after the verb. An Ironman was completed by her. Your pay is being withheld by me. The network was configured by him. If we were expecting a subject-verb-object sentence structure, we'd automatically assume that our subjects are an Ironman, your pay, and the network. But wait, when you pare down the verb phrases, the base verbs here are completed, withheld, and configured. Who completed? Who withheld? Who configured? The Ironman didn't complete anything. Your pay didn't withhold something, and the network didn't configure anything. So after we take a true look at the sentence, we can see that the first element in our sentence is actually not the subject. These sentences are in an object, verb, subject sequence. When we structure sentences this way, we emphasize the object instead of the subject, and we make our readers wait until the end to know who the actual actor was. Passive voice sentences come across as weak, wordy, and kind of unclear, whereas active voice sentences are super straightforward. Let's look at those passive voice sentences again. What appears to be the subject of each of these sentences actually had something done to it. To wrap up, let's look at some examples and see if you can label each subject and verb relationship as active or passive. You'll identify the verb of the sentence and then see if the person or thing that was mentioned before it actually took that action, which would indicate active voice, or was acted upon, which would be passive voice. The grass has been mowed according to post standards. Our verb phrase here is has been mowed. So the base verb that's essential is mowed. We need to ask ourselves, who mowed? Well, actually, the sentence doesn't even tell us. The grass definitely didn't mow itself, though. This sentence is currently written with passive voice. To change it into active voice, we'll switch our object to come after the verb phrase, and we'll need to clarify who our subject is. Sergeant Ramirez mowed the grass according to post standards. My fiance lives an hour from here. Our verb here is lives, so we need to ask ourselves, who lives? The answer is my fiance. If my fiance is the subject of the sentence, then it's following the subject-verb-object sequence that AR 25-50 encourages us to use. This sentence is already written in active voice and doesn't need any changes. Our battalion command sergeant major was nominated for national recognition. Our verb phrase here is was nominated, and our base verb is nominated. Who nominated? We really don't know who actually nominated the battalion command sergeant major, right? Someone did, but he or she isn't named in the sentence. Whoever it was, that person nominated the command sergeant major. We are noting that the ideal sentence structure is not how this sentence was originally crafted. We're dealing with passive voice here. We could change this into active voice by writing, the garrison commander nominated our battalion command sergeant major for national recognition. The soldier's car was searched for forensic evidence. Our verb phrase here is was searched, and our base verb is searched. Who searched? Dunno, but it wasn't the soldier's car that searched. All kinds of passive voice red flags are going up. We need to reorganize this sentence to make it active voice. The MPs searched the soldier's car for forensic evidence. Last one. Leaves clog the drain grates. Our verb here is clog. What clogs? Leaves clog. We've got a textbook subject-verb-object structure already, and there's no need to reword this active voice sentence. I'd encourage you to watch this video one more time just to reinforce what you've learned. And my next 2 videos will keep hammering away at passive voice to make sure you're super clear on how to identify it and change it into active voice. I want this to be as easy and clear for you as possible. I hope the Smarter in 6 segment really resonated with you, and here's something to consider. Most MLC, Sergeant's Major Academy, and ILE instructors aren't experts on grammar and punctuation, so they're more likely to let some of that slide when they're grading your writing. But they do know how to recognize the passive voice, and from what I understand, they're expected to dock you points for using it. So today's lesson should give you a really solid foundation for choosing active voice wording and floating over that landmine. You know I'm here for you, and I'm excited to guide you toward being a more confident, capable writer. Like and subscribe down below so I can keep providing you with helpful writing guidance. And until next time, I got your 6.